Yes, peace and love, wonderful BlackHot family. Welcome to the Swahili classes for the weekend. I do hope that your weekend is coming up just fine. And being on a beautiful Saturday, the last Saturday of the month of May, I do hope that you have had a wonderful month, and I do hope that you are continuing in high pursuit of your goals, and you are doing it with utmost enthusiasm and a whole lot of positivity. My name is Spikes, and every other Saturday and Sunday we get to connect right here on the BlackHot Network with the aim of getting to learn Swahili together. And today is no different. We aspire to get to connect and learn Swahili together. I do wish that you can engage with us. If you do check in, please let us know where you are tuning from, and also let us know what has your experience been with the Swahili language. Do you have any friends that speak Swahili, or have you had people that have you had any conversations where you just wondered what are they speaking about, and you came to realize later that they were speaking in Swahili? Let me know what your experience has been with Swahili. My name is Pikes, and in Swahili we do say Karibu, which means welcome, and we would say Karibu sana to emphasize that you are much welcome. Karibu sana kwenye darasa letu la Swahili, which is you are much welcome to our Swahili class. This is a BlackHot Fan Network, and in case if you're wondering where you can find updates on what is going on with the BlackHot Fan Network, you need not look any further. You can simply head over to blackhotfanetwork.com. And now, once you are on there, you can sign up. You can actually create a profile on the network, and you can be able to connect with the rest of the family. You can also be able to listen to live radio, like by clicking on this particular button, tap to listen. And you can also get to find out what is going on with Black American news, with business and economy, entertainment, international news, international sports, science and technology, and also with what is happening with politics, with sports, with technology, with health, with Africa and Kenya news as well. So that is a wonderful platform. Make sure that you visit www.blackhotfanetwork.com, and so that you are able to find out what is going on with the network. On this particular platform, we have chosen Swahili over many other languages because on the African continent, remember that we have over 1,500 languages on the African continent, but we have chosen Swahili because this is a language that is most prolific. It is spoken by about 200 million speakers on and off the continent, and therefore we do believe that this is a language that has most potential in terms of spreading across the continent and even beyond the continent. And that is why we do pick Swahili over any other African language. It is spoken widely in Kenya, in Tanzania, in the DRC Congo, in Uganda. It is also spoken in Rwanda and Burundi, as well as some parts of Zambia. And we do hope in the near future, more people can also take up the language and embrace the language as their own. The move has happened in Somalia. Somalia, they recently introduced Swahili into their curriculum. I think South Africa also wanted to go the same way. But I do believe that there are so many handles when it comes to the unity of Africans. Right here on the continent and even off the continent, there are so many challenges, and some of those challenges are even of our own making. Because, for example, with what is going on with xenophobia in South Africa, people being chased out because they are from other nationalities, because they are Nigerian, because they are Ghanaian, because they are Zimbabwean. That is actually retrogressive in terms of the aim of having a unified Africa. You cannot chase out people and say that they are taking your opportunities and say that they are taking your jobs. Well, you have done nothing against or to take back your land from the white man that has taken your land in South Africa. And you do find that power rests with the white minority in South Africa, and nothing has actually been done to take back the power and also take back the resources and the land. Nothing has been done. But when it comes to fellow Zimbabweans who look almost like the South African, they actually look like they actually look and are like the South African. You do find that they are being fought and being chased out of that particular country, whereas the European, the Africans, like they call themselves from these other different countries, nothing is done to them. That is a big question. Then what do we do? Are we moving in the right direction? I would actually say no, we are not moving in the right direction. If we talk about connecting our continent, our peoples from all over the continent, then we should be talking about unifying even with the language. And if we were to do so, then I do believe we would be at a much better position, because we would be able, uh, then because we will be able to actually move together or as an African people. We do have many languages, even in South Africa. For example, the Xhosa, and that is a beautiful language. We also do have the click sound of the koi sounds, and many other different languages on the continent. But even them, there was a memorandum which was signed between the Kenyan government and the South African government, so that we can have some tutors, come from Kenya and go train people Swahili in South Africa, which is actually a good move. So if you to have Swahili in South Africa, have Swahili in East Africa, in Central Africa, in West Africa, and also in North Africa, then I do believe we would actually be getting to the point where we need to be getting in terms of the unification of our people around the continent and even off the continent. I think maybe perhaps even the Caribbean should pick an interest. Haiti, Jamaica, you're talking about all these other island countries in the Caribbean. I do wish that they would pick an interest in the language. And with that particular interest, introduce and that would actually be a very, very positive thing to do because it would unify our people. Nonetheless, what has been happening on the continent, one thing is the issue of xenophobia, and I was saying that the matter of xenophobia has come up because South Africans feel that they are being denied of the opportunities, and the opportunities have been taken away from them by fellow Africans, which I do believe is not quite true. Instead of looking at expanding the economy and producing more opportunities, all they have focused on is chasing out, fellow Africans, which is actually very, very much retrogressive if you do get to ask me. Another thing that has been happening on the continent, there has been the whole issue of Ebola. And Ebola, I do believe this is a disease that has no cure. And I think so far, Ebola also doesn't have a vaccine. So what has happened is that there has been an Ebola outbreak in the DRC Congo. And the neighboring country, which is Uganda, Uganda has closed its boundary with the DRC. And apart from that, we have now seen a case where the United States is calling upon the setting up of a quarantine in Kenya so that the people who are suspected to have contracted this Ebola virus, who are Americans, will not be taken back to America, but they will be settled or taken to Kenya for that particular time of isolation and all. Kenyans have come up against that and they have said, we do not want any of that. We do not want any of that shenanigans with us. We have said that everyone let people bear their burden. If they are to go back to the US, let them go back to the US. For the Kenyan government, I do understand like they have already accepted and agreed, which is now very against the will of the people, because all these leaders, for example, the president, the cabinet secretaries, the principal secretaries, all of these people are people working for the people. What has happened is that it seems like they have been corrupted. But nonetheless, that is the two things that have been happening. Xenophobia going on in South Africa, Ebola going on with the DRC Congo, and among many other things that are going on. Sometimes we do find that when you're reporting about Africa, we may not always talk about things that are, that are positive. Sometimes we do have things that are also negative, and this is such a situation where we do have some of those particular negative things. Nonetheless, welcome back to the Swahili. Let's get right into it. We do have our Swahili class notes, and in case you want to get a copy of the notes, you can let me know, and I will be more than glad to share with you the notes. You can write to me, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to be able to share with you the notes of our Swahili class. In Swahili, we have the communication styles and the values, and you realize that indirect communication is considered much more polite than being direct and specific, and especially when talking to superiors or your elders, indirect communication is considered to be very much more polite than being direct and specific. You may also find that people address problems differently. For example, instead of asking for help directly and then explaining specifically the reasons, they may tell you a 3 or 4 minute story about a problem they're having, only for them to begin to hint at the solution or the assistance that you can give. And also, in the Swahili language, humor plays a very, very big role in communicating. And most Tanzanians, they enjoy a good joke. When two people of the same sex are talking, chatting is acceptable It is common with the touch of the hands, the legs, the shoulders. But when two people of the opposite sex are talking, there is very little touching. The only appropriate touch is actually a handshake. This is the style and the value in the communication of the Swahili language. And when talking to an elder, many people tend to look down out of respect rather than having a direct eye contact. What happens is that most people tend to look down, and it's still acceptable in the Swahili language, like a sign of respect. But when we talk about most Tanzanians enjoy a good laugh, what we are saying is that even for not just Tanzanians, because we don't know that the Swahili language is spoken across the wider East African coastal region. For example, in Kenya, in Tanzania, I do believe in some parts of Mozambique, we will have Swahili speakers, if I'm not mistaken. But what we do call the act or the verb of laughing, when you're talking about laughing, then you would say cheka, cheka, cheka. You might say nimempata yule dada anacheka. That would be I have found that lady laughing. I have found that lady laughing. Nimempata, P-A-T-A means to find or to get. P-A-T-A means to find or to get. It means to find. All it means to get. P-A-T-A means to find. All it means to get. And therefore, if someone says they have found or they have gotten, then they would say pata, P-A-T-A. If someone says nimepata pesa, that will mean I have found money, because pesa is for money. Pesa is for money. Pesa is for money. But money is not to be confused with wealth. For wealth, we do say mali, M-A-L-I, for wealth. That is for wealth. M-A-L-I, that is for wealth. If you're talking about funds, then you would say rasilimali. Funds, you would say rasilimali. Rasilimali, then you can say that as funds. So if someone was talking about getting any of these, maybe perhaps they want to get, or they have gotten money, they have gotten funds, they have gotten wealth, they have gotten this and that, what they would say is nimepata rasilimali, that is for funds, nimepata mali, that is for wealth, or nimepata pesa, that is for money. Whatever you do say after pata, it means you've gotten that. For example, pata simu means to get a phone. Pata simu, simu, it means to get a phone, to get a phone. Remember, pata is not to be confused with taka. Pata is not to be confused. Pata is get. But taka is want. Taka means want. T-A-K-A. Taka means want. Taka means want. So therefore, if someone says ninataka, nina, N-I-N-A, nina means I want. Ninataka is equals to I want. Ninataka is simply equals to I want. So therefore, if someone says ninataka mali, it means I want wealth. If they did say ninataka rasilimali, it means I want funds. If they did say ninataka pesa, it would mean I want money. Therefore, that would be ninataka pesa. And that would be I want money. I want money. That is exactly how you would say it, or that is exactly how they would say it. If someone is looking to get some money, then they would say ninataka pesa, or ninataka mali for wealth, or ninataka rasilimali for funds. Those are three things. But if you wanted something else, for example, water, then you would say ninataka maji. You would say ninataka maji, M-A-J-I. That would be I want water. I want water. Ninataka maji. That would be I want water. It's not difficult. Remember, if you're looking into getting to speak Swahili, I always do say it is important that you get to practice. And you do say that practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you become at the language. If someone says ninataka maji, it means I want water. If someone says ninataka pesa, it means I want money. If someone says ninataka simu, it means I want a phone. Whatever they do follow, whatever is followed after ninataka then it means they want exactly that. If someone says like a shirt, they wanted to have a shirt, then they would say ninataka shirt. If someone said ninataka kitabu, it means I wanted a book. I want a book. I want. And if you break that down, ni na taka, if you break it down like that, ninataka, the ni on this particular phrase, the ni points to self. The ni points to self. The ni is pointing to I. Ni nataka. The ni points to I, because if you're talking about the first person singular, point to I, self, then you do say ni. The syllable ni is for I or for self. Then the na in that particular phrase, the na is for the present continuous tense. So for the present continuous tense, then you would say na. Na stands for the present, is a tense marker for the present continuous. And then taka is simply want. So taka is simply want. So want or need. But want is more is perfect. You say ninataka, then it is understood to be I want. I want. But if we're talking about to need something, to need, you would say to need in terms of the verb, to need, you would say hitaji, 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 you would say hitaji. For example, ninahitaji pesa. Ninahitaji, if you do say ni, the ni points to I, then na points to present continuous. Then hitaji, then it will be I need. That will be I need. That is exactly how you put it. I need. If someone says ninahitaji pesa, then that will be I need money. If someone says ninahitaji chakula, then that will be I need some food. Ninahitaji chakula. That is exactly how you would say it. It's not difficult. It is actually not difficult, but what I always keep on insisting is that you get to practice, because we do say practice makes perfect. So therefore, in that particular example of ninahitaji, ninahitaji means I need. Ninahitaji means I need. For example, if you're at a dinner table and you wanted something like a salad, then you would say ninahitaji mboga, or ninahitaji maybe perhaps a spoon. You would say ninahitaji kijiko, which is I need a spoon, or ninahitaji kisu, which is a knife. And whatever you would say after hitaji means that you need exactly that. And that is how you would actually explain that, or you make a request for something. You can make a request for something in Swahili by simply saying ninataka. Ninataka simply means I want. You can make a request for Swahili by simply saying I need, which is ninahitaji. Or you can make a request by simply saying ningependa, which is I would like. So ningependa, the first is ni. Ningependa simply means I would like. It means I would like. And therefore, in that regard, if someone says I would like, it's understood to be he or she would like ningependa. It's understood to be he or she would like. I would like. So it's not difficult. I think with the three examples, you are able to make a request for something. For example, if you wanted to have some water, wanted to have some food, wanted to have some money, wanted to have some clothing, wanted to have some shelter, which are the basic, or maybe perhaps wanted to have some Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi password. So you would actually say ningependa. Then if you're talking about help, you would actually say usaidizi. You would say usaidizi. So basically, if you wanted to make a request for something, you would say ningependa, which is I would like. So those are three examples. I would like, ningependa. I want, ninataka. Or ninahitaji, which is I need. For example, if you wanted some assistance, you would say ningependa usaidizi kidogo. Usaidizi Usaidizi is the word for assistance. Usaidizi is assistance. Assistance. So if you're in a position where you need assistance, maybe perhaps you want to lift something up. So you would say ningependa, which is I would like. Usaidizi. Usaidizi means assistance. Then you would say usaidizi wako, which is your assistance. Wako means your. Wako means yours. It means your. All yours. It means your. All yours. So therefore, if someone says ningependa usaidizi wako, means I would like to have your assistance. I would like to have your assistance. So therefore, it would be ningependa usaidizi wako, which is I would like your assistance. I would like your assistance. Maybe perhaps you're in a situation and you're trying to get someone's attention. So therefore, the first thing you would tell them is habari yako. Habari yako, which is how are you. Habari yako, which is how are you. Habari yako, which is how are you. How are you? How are you? That is simply how you get someone's attention, and you just want to know how they are doing. So you would say habari yako. And when you do so, then you would actually say ningependa usaidizi wako. Habari yako, and then they would respond and say nzuri or salama, and then you'd respond and say ningependa usaidizi wako. Or you might, before you say you want the assistance, or you're looking for the assistance, you might tell them your name. You want to introduce yourself. So you say habari yako, which is how are you. Jina langu ni Spikes. Jina langu, which is my name is Spikes. Ningependa usaidizi wako. Ningependa usaidizi wako. So in that context, maybe perhaps you're lost. Maybe perhaps you have misplaced your item. Maybe perhaps you don't know where you're headed to. And you met someone on the way. And if you met someone on the way, in that context, you tell them habari yako, which is how are you. Or you can simply say hello. You can simply say hello by hujambo. Hujambo. You can simply say hello by hujambo. And if you did say hello, then you would say hujambo habari yako, which is hello, how are you. Jina langu ni Spikes, which is my name is Spikes. Ningependa usaidizi wako, which is I would like your assistance or I would like your help. So the help is usaidizi, or also the same is assistance. That is exactly how you would say it, and you would ask for the assistance in that kind of way, and it's not even difficult. I always do say that Swahili is a very, very polite language. You can use our tafadhali, so you might say tafadhali, which means please. Tafadhali, tafadhali is just an emphasis for please. It means please. So therefore, if you did say hujambo, hujambo is hello, and then they would respond and say they would say sijambo. Then you would respond and you go on and say jina langu ni Spikes, which is my name is Spikes. Ningependa usaidizi wako, which is I would like your assistance. Please. Please is tafadhali. So you would say ningependa usaidizi wako tafadhali. Ningependa usaidizi wako tafadhali. That is exactly how you'd ask for the assistance, and they would be more than glad to maybe perhaps extend the assistance if they are in a position to be able to help you. Then they can, and they would ask J signals the start of a question. J nikusaidie vipi, ni kusaidie vipi. Vipi means how. How may I help you? How may I help you? So therefore they would respond and say J nikusaidie vipi. So the JE is simply just a cue for the start of a question. J nikusaidie vipi. J nikusaidie vipi. And therefore you would respond and say gari langu limevunjika or limeharibika, which is my car is broken down. Gari langu limeharibika pale barabarani. Pale barabarani. Pale barabarani means they are on the road, on the roadside. Pale barabarani, it means on the roadside, because barabara means the road. Barabara means the road. means the road. Maybe your car has broken down and you just want to ask for some assistance, then that is exactly how you would say gari langu limeharibika pale au limevunjika pale barabarani. That is exactly how you would say it. This is Swahili classes for the weekend. My name is Felix. In case you're joining us for the very first time, we get to connect and learn Swahili. It's actually not difficult, quite easy. And the goal is to be able to help you get better in terms of your understanding, to be able to just help you appreciate the beautiful language of Swahili, because we do know that at the end of the day, we just want to connect, and this is a beautiful language that can help us connect, and that is what we have. That is why we have chosen Swahili, and Swahili is a language that will actually help us get there, or that is the language that will take us there, and that is why we are stuck. That is why we have chosen, not stuck, but that is why we have chosen this particular language over any other languages, because we do believe that this is a language of the future. And on every 17th of May, on the 17th of July, we get to celebrate the language, or get to mark it as the International Day of Swahili. And the International Day of Swahili is where people get to recognize the importance of the beautiful language of Swahili. That is when people get to recognize the importance of the beautiful language of Swahili. It is a beautiful thing that we get to learn Swahili, even if it's step by step, slowly. Take our time. Don't rush through learning Swahili. But if you take your time, then it would actually be a wonderful thing, because you get the skill, get the knowledge, and you are able also to reconnect with the roots. You are able to reconnect with the roots. You will be able to connect with us. Um, just trying to share the link on a group here as we proceed. I'm just trying to share a link here. I was just sharing a link there. But nonetheless, yes, I was saying that if you're trying to make a request for something, then you would say request for assistance. You would say ningependa usaidizi wako, and you would go ahead and also add the word tafadhali, because tafadhali means please. You would say ningependa usaidizi wako tafadhali. Tafadhali is simply for please. And you might say usaidizi kidogo, which is a literal assistance. Usaidizi kidogo, which is a literal assistance. And kidogo simply is a word in Swahili which measures or shows the scale. So you say kidogo means a little or small. It means a little, or it means small. That is how you might say usaidizi wako, usaidizi kidogo. Usaidizi kidogo means a little assistance. It means a little assistance, and therefore someone might be aware that you're just looking for a bit of some assistance, and that you are able to maybe just use lend a hand from them, and once they lend you a hand, you are able to get back on your track and maybe perhaps be better at whatever you are doing. But nonetheless, this is Swahili class for the weekend. Each and every other weekend we get to connect, and you can always feel free to ask a question. You can always free to also interject. Maybe perhaps there might be a thing that we have mentioned here in our class that might have piqued your interest, and maybe you're trying to find out what it means or why, what it means, or actually what it is about. So you are free to ask a question, and I would be more than glad to respond. There was a question I happened to ask on a different separate forum, and this has nothing to do with the Swahili class, but is just by the way. And this question has to do with the interest in building with Africa, or interest in building in Africa or with Africa. So the question was, if you had an opportunity to invest your capital or skills or expertise in Africa, which sector would you be most interested in supporting or building in? That was a question. And the question once again was, if you had an opportunity to invest your capital or your skills or expertise in Africa, which sector would you be most interested in supporting or building? The number one option is technology and innovation. The number two is agriculture and food production. The number three is real estate and infrastructure. The number four was entertainment, arts and media. The number five was renewable energy and sustainability. The number six was education, healthcare, or community development. And the last one, maybe perhaps other, for anyone who might feel that maybe perhaps a question doesn't cover the options, doesn't cover what they would do. But that was a beautiful question, which is, if you had an opportunity to invest your capital, your skills or expertise in Africa, which sector would you be most interested in supporting or building? Technology and innovation, agriculture, real estate and infrastructure, entertainment, arts and media, renewable energy and sustainability, education, healthcare and community development, or any other. So the thing is, when you moving around in Africa for business or for leisure, maybe perhaps you're going to Tanzania, you're going to Zanzibar, you're going to Mombasa in Kenya, you're going to Uganda, you're going to the DRC, you're going to Rwanda, you're going to Burundi, you're going to Malawi, you're going to Zambia. What happens is that most of these particular countries, they do speak in Swahili, and therefore this is a language of commerce in most of these countries that I've mentioned. If you are in Nairobi, for example, in the capital city, maybe perhaps you're trying to buy some African clothing, or you're trying to buy some books, or you're trying to buy some, whatever you're trying to buy, you are able to do so through the language of Swahili. You can ask a question, it will be responded, and you would say, ningependa kujua, which is I would like to know. Jua means to know. So therefore, if someone says ningependa kujua, it means I would like to know bei gani ama unauzaje kitu fulani, which is how much you're selling a particular thing. So ningependa kununua, maybe perhaps you're talking about buying something. If you're buying something, you simply say nunua for buying. If you're trying to someone to sell you something, maybe perhaps it's in the streets, they're selling some African art or whatever they're selling, you want to buy, then you would say ningependa. Ningependa simply means I would like. Or you might say what we learned up there, we did say ninataka. Ninataka simply means I want. So if we did say ninataka kununua, kununua shows the verb in action. Nunua is the verb for buy, but if you say kununua, it shows the verb in action. So therefore you would say ninataka, which is I want. Kununua means to buy. So you would say ninataka kununua, which is I want to buy. So if you're moving around and you're anywhere in those countries that I've mentioned, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Malawi, Zambia, the DRC, Burundi, even Somali, because I did say as we started out, as we mentioning earlier, that even Somali, they have also introduced the curriculum, Swahili in their curriculum, and therefore in a very, very short period of time, if you go to Somali as well, I do believe you will be able to communicate and converse in Swahili, which is a beautiful thing. But if you're trying to buy something, you say nunua. If you're trying to sell, we do say uza, U-Z-A, uza, which is sell. So if you're asking someone, how much are you selling it for? You'll say, je, unauza pesa ngapi? Je, unauza pesa ngapi? Which is J just signals the start of a question. If someone says J, it signals the start of a question. Je, unauza pesa ngapi? Who points to the second person. It points to you. Who points to you? So how much are you selling it for? You would say unauza pesa ngapi? Unauza pesa ngapi? Unauza pesa ngapi? Pesa ngapi? That would be how much are you selling it for? How much are you selling it for? You selling. How much are you selling for? So that is exactly how someone might ask how much you're selling your item for. It might be a shoe, it might be a shirt, it might be a blazer, it might be some spectacles, it might be whatever you're buying. You might ask je unauza pesa ngapi, which is how much are you selling it for. And in our next classes, we shall be talking about enumeration and how you talk about numbers in Swahili. Numbers, you might call them nambari in Swahili. For example, you're talking about one, you would say moja. Two, you would say mbili. Three, you would say tatu. Nne, you would say four. Five, you would say tano. Those are just five of them. Like you use your palm to represent the five fingers. The five fingers, and you can also use your palm like this, like I always do say, to represent the five vowels. The five vowels. The vowel A, the vowel E, the vowel E, the vowel O, the vowel U. The five vowels in Swahili, because we do know that any language, the basic part of a language, the makeup of a language is the vowels and the consonants. So for the consonants, we have all the letters of the English alphabet, apart from words that I just presented with my finger. And apart from X and Q, connection. I was just saying that if you're talking about the language of commerce, or it's on the continent, that if you're all in Tanzania, you're trying to purchase something, you are in Uganda or Kenya or Malawi or even some parts of Mozambique or Zambia or some parts of Zambia, basically, you are able to connect with the people through of Swahili. And if you're trying to buy something, you would say ninataka kununua. Ninataka kununua simply means I want to buy. So if someone says ninataka kununua chungwa, it means I want to buy an orange. If someone says they want to buy ninataka kununua nanasi, then they would exactly say, ninataka kununua nanasi, I want to buy an apple. So that is a pineapple, basically. That is how you would say it. And it's not even difficult. Like I was saying, you can use your 5 fingers to represent the 5 letters, the 5 vowels. The vowel A is the English letter A. The vowel A is the English letter E. The vowel the vowel E is the English letter I. The vowel O is the English letter, the vowel, let me just put them down here in an easier way so that I can just R, M, E, O, O. These are the 5 vowels. So let me try to demonstrate them with the palm. So if you're talking about the vowel A is the English letter A. The vowel A is the English letter E. The vowel the vowel A is the English letter E. The vowel E is the English letter I. The vowel O is the English letter O. And the vowel U is the English letter U. So those are the 5 vowels, and they are also found in the English alphabet. When you talk about the consonants, I was saying for the consonants, we have all the letters of the English alphabet apart from these 5. All the letters of the English alphabet apart from these 5, and also apart from X and Q. So therefore, if you're talking about the consonants, you would say A, E, O, U. Then you take X and Y. So if you're talking about the consonants, the Swahili consonants, they are all the letters of the English alphabet apart from these letters that I have on my screen, apart from A, E, I, O, U, X, and Y. All the others, for example, B, C, D, J, K, L, all those, they make up the consonant. And but you have to less these particular 5 ones. So I was talking about getting to understand how you make requests. You can make some requests simply, very, very easily. You can make some requests, and you can be able to do so. You can be able to do so by simply saying ninataka. Ninataka simply means I want. If you're talking about ningetaka, then means I would love. If you're talking about maybe perhaps ningependa, there are 3 ways: ninataka, ningependa, all. Basically those are the 2 ways of actually making any kind of a request that you wish to make. If you're asking for anything, those are the 2 main ways in which you can be able to do so. This is really class for the weekend. If you have a question, please ask. Tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. If you have a question, please ask. You can also let me know where you're tuning from, whether you are in Africa, maybe Dakar, Senegal, maybe in Chad, maybe in Morocco, maybe in the States, maybe in Canada, maybe in Brazil, wherever it might be. Also, let me know where you're tuning from, and that would actually be a good thing. We shall take a short break, enjoy some music, some Swahili music. The name of the song is Sielewi. Sielewi simply means I don't understand. Sielewi, it simply means I do not understand. So we shall take a short break, enjoy some Swahili, and from there we shall be right back with the Swahili class.
Nimeamka moyo mzima, kichwa kina barua za jana. Nilikuona nikacheka kidogo, lakini ndani kuna mvua. Uliposema it's okay, nilisheka barani. Macho yako yalinikosea, sikujua cha kusema, na kila nikikimbia rudi karibu zaidi. Nataka kuamini, lakini roho inalia. Sielewi roho yangu tena. Sielewi roho yangu tena. Baby, why you do me like that? Sielewi roho yangu tena. Simu ikaita, nikasita, nikaangalia majina yote, nilitaka kusema I'm fine, lakini sauti kanigoma. Kijani cha macho yako kimebaki moyoni mwangu, nikipumua kwa nguvu nasikia nimeshika hewa, na kila nikikimbia rudi karibu zaidi. Nataka kuamini lakini roho inalia, sielewi roho yangu tena, sielewi roho yangu tena. Baby, why you do me like that? Sielewi roho yangu tena. Niseme ukweli sasa, sijui kama ni wewe au ni mimi nimechoka, kila njia inauma. Nipe muda kidogo, nipe nafasi ya kuota. If I stay, I might break. If I go, I still feel you. Sielewi roho yangu tena, sielewi roho yangu tena. Baby, why you do me like that? Sielewi roho yangu tena.
It is a wonderful, wonderful jam right there. And the name of the song is Sielewi. It simply means I do not understand. So if someone says Sielewi tena, it simply means I do not understand. The word tena means again. The word tena, it means again. But if you're talking about Sielewi roho yangu, it means I do not understand my heart. Roho, it means a heart. Roho, it means a heart. For example, nakupenda na roho yangu yote, and that will be I love you with all of my heart. Roho yangu, it means my heart. It means my heart. It's not difficult. If you have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. But before we proceed with our class, I want us to head over to the official network website before we proceed with our class. And this is the official network website. And so you might see what we're talking about right here. And we do have the BlackHot network, the news. We do have the blogs. We do have the shop right here on the network. And we do have a whole lot of amazing, amazing resources on the BlackHot network. If you're talking about news, we do have the USA news, the business and economy, the entertainment, the international, the sports, the science and technology. Maybe having even the live show on the network as well. We do have the opinion, the politics, the sports, the technology. We also do have the blogs from Africa, from Kenya specifically, and also from other parts. This is on the featured blog. If you wish to support the network, you can click on the donate page until a tab will pop up. You can also see enjoy the podcast, the videos, the social community. This is like a social media, inside a social media, because you can be able to set up an account on the network and connect with the rest of the family on the BlackHot network. We have an apparel store and a sports store, and you can also find out more about the BlackHot network and also contact the BlackHot Fire. So that is what you can find on that particular platform. And in case this is your very first time connecting with us, I feel much welcome. In Swahili, we do say Karibu, and if you want to emphasize, I would say Karibu sana. That is simply how you would say. If you have visitors and people coming to visit you, if you have visitors and people coming to visit you, in Swahili, you would tell them Karibu sana wageni wetu, which is you're much welcome our visitors, because wageni simply means visitors. But yes, let's go back to the Swahili language, the 5 vowels, and there is one unique vowel right there, which is the vowel U. The vowel U. The vowel U can also be used when you're talking about pronouns. The vowel U can also used to represent the second person, which is you. The vowel U can also be used to represent you, which is the second person. For example, what will you eat? What will you eat? what will you eat? If I was asking a question, what will what will you eat? What will you eat? If I'm asking a question, what will you eat? Then I would start that particular question with the utakula nini? Utakula nini? Utakula nini? Which is what will you eat? What will you eat? Nini simply is for what? It's for what? For example, if someone is asking, what are you saying? 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 So therefore, then that would be unasema nini. That is unasema nini. That is exactly how you would ask. If you're trying to ask someone what they're saying, then you would say unasema nini, je unasema nini. So for the 5 vowels, and these are the 5 vowels that I had represented on this particular, using my finger, using my palm, the 5 vowels. So therefore, you would say unataka nini. The vowel u can be used, in place of a pronoun, in place for the second person you. What will you eat? Utakula nini. What are you saying? Unasema nini. So the represents the second person you. But remember, at the start of the class, we said for I, if I'm talking about myself, the first person singular, we do say mimi, or we can use the syllable ni. So for example, if someone was to ask me, utakula nini, which is what will you eat, I would respond and say ni takula. The ni, the syllable ni, please get this, the syllable ni points to I. The syllable ni, it points to I. So ni, it points to I, all myself. It points to I, all myself. So I would say ni takula ugali na samaki, which is I'll have ugali and fish. I'll have ugali and fish. Or nitakula mchele na nyama, which is I'll have rice and beef, or I'll have rice and meat. All I might say nitakula mchele na mboga, which is I would have rice and some veggies. That is exactly how you would say it. And so there is those two things. The I is represented by ni, the syllable ni. But for the you, we would say either wewe or u. Wewe is for the second person, Second person you. Person you is for the second person you. But mimi or ni is for the first person I. So mimi or ni is for the first person I. So up to that particular point, I do hope that we are on the same page, because I want to go home. That would be ninataka kwenda nyumbani. If you wanted to go home, you would say nataka kwenda nyumbani. So there's a difference between I and you, in that the I is ni and the you is u. So utakula nini? What will you eat? Nitakula mchele, I'll have some rice. Nitaenda nyumbani, nitasoma kitabu, nitatembea Afrika. Whatever you do put after ni, it points to I. And then the I, the first person, the pronoun, the first person is followed by the tense marker. For example, ni is I, nakula chakula, that would be I am eating food. For example, that is distinction between I and you. So ni, that is the N-I, ni. Then you have the tense marker, na. The tense marker, na is the tense marker for the present continuous. So na, and then kula means to eat. And then chakula means food. Chakula means food. So that will mean I, ni is I. Na is am. I am is the present continuous. I am. The na is for the present continuous. And then kula is the verb. Kula is the verb for eat. And then chakula is food. Chakula means food. Chakula means food. So if someone says ninakula chakula, it means I am eating food. I am eating food. Ni points to I. Na is a tense marker for I am, the present continuous. Na is a present continuous, a tense marker for the present continuous. And then kula, kula is the verb for eat. I am eating, that is ninakula chakula. Chakula is the noun for food. Chakula is a noun for food. When we are talking about Swahili, we have the SVO, which is the subject, the verb, the object, as the order of words in a sentence. The order of words in a sentence. So, for example, you might say, mtoto amelala kitandani, which is the baby is sleeping on the bed. The baby is sleeping on the bed. Mtoto amelala kitandani, which is the SVO. The SVO. The baby is the subject. The verb is sleeping on the bed. The bed is actually the object. So that is the order of a sentence. The subject, the verb, and the object, and the object, and the object, the subject, the verb, and the object. That is how our words get to flow in that particular regard. Do you have a question? If you do have a question, I will be more than glad to answer. Ningefurahi kukujibu swali lako, which is I will be glad to answer your question. Question is swali, and answer is jibu. Je, uko na swali? Je cues the start of a question. So je, uko na swali? U, remember, is for you. Uko na, that is, do you have? Do you have? Swali is a question. Uko na swali? Uko na swali is, do you have a question? If you have a question, there are two. If you ask a question like that, which has two answers, yes or no, you would say ndio. Ndio is a yes, and hapana is a no. Ndio is a yes, and hapana is a no. So if you do say yes, you would say ndio. You'd say ndio. But if you're talking about a no, you would say hapana. Hapana, you shake your head like this and say no. Do you have a question? Yes, ndio. Do you have a question? No, hapana. No, hapana. Hapana. Or you can also say la. La means no. La, L-A means no. But ndio is like this. You're accepting and you're saying affirmative, positive. I do have a question. Niko na swali. The ni is I. Niko na swali. Or nina swali is I do have a question. Nina swali kidogo. Unaweza nijibu tafadhali? U is for the second person. U is for the second person, which is you. And at that particular point, if you have a question, please ask. Tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. If you do have a question, please ask, because I will be more than glad to respond to you, because there are differences between Swahili and English. For example, Swahili has only 5 vowels in contrast to those of English. And English has 24 consonants, while Swahili has 28, and plus the special class of consonants. And we also do have Swahili speech alternate vowels with consonants, and contains basically no consonant clusters. So it is very important to observe that we do not have consonant clusters in Swahili. For example, the consonant C and D and G, you cannot have a word in Swahili that has those consonants in a word, back to back. It cannot happen. We combine consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. That is the way it is. It alternates consonants and vowels. It does not have consonant clusters. So you cannot talk about a Swahili word which has like KLG. No, it cannot happen. It has to have a K, a consonant K, and then a vowel, and then a vowel. For example, kitabu. Kitabu is a good word. Kitabu is a book. Kitabu is a book. It means a book. Kitabu is a book. But you see, kitabu, it means, let me just put down. It has the vowel, it has a consonant alternating with a vowel, and a consonant alternating with a vowel. That is the way it is. A consonant alternating with a vowel, another consonant alternating with a vowel. So you cannot have like KTB, K C, B, A, it cannot be like that. It has to be a consonant, a vowel, a consonant, a vowel, a consonant, a vowel. That is the beauty of this particular language. It makes it very, very easy. Even easy on your tongue when you're speaking this beautiful language. It is very, very easy, and it is also quite interesting. The way we get to learn it and the way we get to understand it. It is an East African language, a Bantu language, with Arabian influence. Arabs also came to East Africa to do commerce. And what happened is that there was also some words borrowed from the Arab into the Arabic language, into the Swahili language. But Swahili is very, very old. The Arab language is about 1500 years, but Swahili is older than that. It's very old. So you cannot say Swahili is an Arabic language. No, it isn't. So you also realize that in Swahili, all utterances and syllables end with a vowel sound. All utterances and syllables end in a vowel sound. So for Swahili, another thing important to note, for Swahili, we do not have any word in Swahili that ends with a consonant. For example, the word sing. Sing is an English word, and sing means to sing. But in Swahili, we do say imba. It ends with the vowel a. So we do not have any Swahili word that ends with a consonant. They all end with a vowel. If you're talking about, for example, jump, we do say ruka. So R-U-K-A, the vowel A. So that is a word in Swahili that ends with the vowel A. So the syllables, they do end with the vowels. So there is no any Swahili word that ends with a consonant, which is not all of the words in Swahili, they end with a vowel. They end with a vowel. And I've given us the 5 vowels, the A, M, E, O. Those are the 5 vowels in Swahili. And that is exactly what it is. So you do have to take note of that Swahili is a beautiful language. And there are many differences with Swahili and English. And that is one of the main differences. Royal Constructor one, big up to you too. I do hope that you're doing wonderful this particular weekend. And I do hope that you're chilling out, maybe perhaps, or maybe you're at work. I don't know what you might be up to. But thank you so much for joining us in our Saudi class. Much peace and love to you. I appreciate you. And we do these every Saturday and Sunday around this particular thing. And we are always here chopping it up and just getting to learn Swahili. And we take it as easy as we can for you. It's not difficult. It's not this beautiful language, and that you are able to grasp, the beauty of this particular language. So Royal Constructor, big up to you. It's 100 always, in terms when you're speaking Swahili, we do say 100 is mia. Mia is 100. So if someone says mia kwa mia is 100%. It means 100% mia kwa mia. So we were saying that there are those differences between Swahili and English. And I was just saying that all the words in Swahili, all utterances and syllables end in a vowel sound. For example, kitabu, it ends the vowel, the syllable bu and the vowel u. Kanisa, it ends with the vowel syllable sa and the vowel a. So all these particular words that you're saying, all of them, they do end with the vowel a. And if you're looking also at other examples, there are so many examples that you can give. And all these examples, most of them, you can be able to practice. And with time, you are able to get perfect with that. So in case you do have a question, tafadhali uliza kama uko na swali, uliza swali, ask any question. And I will be more than glad to respond to you. Royal Constructor, peace and love to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And anyone else, you can let us know where you're tuning from, and I will be more than glad to respond to your question. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. If you do have a question, please go ahead and ask. If you do have any question regarding anything that we have learned here, please ask. Tafadhali uliza, and I will be more than glad to respond. Remember, if you're trying to introduce yourself, you do say jina langu ni. For example, introduce yourself to your friend. You say jina langu ni Spikes. For example, jina langu ni Spikes. Or say jina langu ni Beatrice or Betty. If your name is, for example, Margaret, you say jina langu ni Margaret. that would be understood to be just a simple way of introducing yourself. If you say hello to one person, you say Hujambo. If you say hello to many people, you would say Hamjambo. And remember that you can always practice with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family members, with whomever you want to practice the language with. You can always be able to do so, and you can engage many people on your journey as you get to learn the language. You can be able to do so by just engaging people and just practicing it with people, because we do say practice makes perfect. If anyone has a question, please ask. If no one has a question, then I think we shall be winding up. We shall be winding up in a few. But before we wind up, please ask a question. Kabla tumalize, tafadhali uliza swali, so that if anyone has a question, we can always answer. As we wind up, there are other differences between Swahili and English. Let me just touch on those differences. And I did say one of them is that all utterances and syllables end with the vowel sound. For example, the word kitabu, kalamu. For example, the word simu. For example, the word kiti. For example, the word siku. For example, the word wiki. For example, the word nguo. For example, the word rafiki. All these particular words, they end with a vowel sound, and therefore it is not difficult for you to be able to remember that all utterances end in a vowel sound. Rafiki means a friend. Adui means an enemy. Siku means a day. Wakati means time. And therefore, all these words in Swahili and utterances, they end with a vowel sound. Another difference is that the two languages have very different systems of word stress. So in Swahili, the way you stress some particular parts of the word, it's different from the way you stress other words in English. Also, the intonation patterns are also a little bit different. And also, in Swahili, the typical intonation pattern is a low fall, which is carried over into English, even where English uses a rise. Therefore, it is not always clear if the speaker is asking a question. But for you to be able to know whether a speaker is asking a question in English, we normally do use the word je. For example, someone might say, je, utakula nini? Utakula is what will you eat? What will you eat? And if I was to respond, I would say nitakula ugali na samaki, which is I'll have ugali and fish. Or I might say nitakula mchele na nyama, which is I'll have rice and meat. But there are so many ways of responding to that. But for the sake of getting to understand the difference, for I, we do say ni. For you, we do say wewe, or we do say u. We do say un. So we shall end it there. So remember to join us tomorrow, the same time. If you do have a question, please ask. I will be more than glad to respond to your question. If anyone has a question, please ask. Je, kunaye aliye na swali? Kama uko na swali, kama means if. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. Which is, if you do have a question, please ask. If you do have a question, tafadhali uliza. If you do have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. If you do not have a question, then ni sawa. Sawa means okay. So if someone says ni sawa, it means okay. If someone says ni sawa, it means okay. So which is sawa, it means okay. If someone has a question, it's fine. They would say ni sawa. If someone says ni sawa, means it is. It is. So ni also has another use. Ni also has another use, which is. For example, if someone says chai ni tamu, if someone says chai ni tamu, it means the tea is sweet. The tea is sweet. So ni has two uses. It can be used to represent I. Ninataka food. Ninataka chakula means I want food. Ninataka maji, which means I want water. Or it can also be used to represent is. So someone will say chai ni tamu. Chai ni tamu. Then that would be the tea is sweet, or that is exactly how you would say it. So that is exactly how you would say it. And we are winding up. If no one has a question, then we shall end it there. Remember, we shall be learning more uses of these syllables in Swahili. For example, we did say that the syllable si, it is used to negate something from a positive to a negative. For example, nitakula chakula will mean I will eat food, nitakula chakula. But if I will not eat food, I would say si takula chakula, si takula chakula. So the si is a syllable. It will be used to negate the positive to a negative. I will eat, I will not eat. So nitakula chakula, which is I will eat. Si takula chakula is I will not eat food. I will not eat food. So we shall wind it up right there. Remember, I want to wish you a happy and productive rest of the day. Wherever you might be tuning from, we appreciate your time and your company for joining us in class. We never take your company for granted. If you want to write an email to us, you can write to blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, which is blackhotfireafrica @gmail.com, africa@gmail.com. So in case you want a copy of the notes, I would be happy to share with you a copy of the notes. Just write to blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. And you can also visit the official network website, which is www.network.com, www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. You can learn the language using, even Swahili movies. If you watch Swahili movies with subtitles, you can learn Swahili. If you watch Swahili music with subtitles, either music or movies with subtitles, you will be able to find out what is going on or what are they talking about in this particular film. And it's always a delight to have you, appreciate the language, learn the language, and keep it, get better with the language as well. We shall wind it up there. If you have a question, please ask. If not, I think we shall be catching up next time. But for now, much peace and love. I want to say, Kwaheri.